I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Municipal Authority on November 15th at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. Present. Here. White.
Here.
Brown. Here. Dilbeck. Here. Vaughn.
Here.
Koldart.
Here.
Strellick.
Item 1, the consent agenda. Looks like we have 4 items. Or 1 item, sorry.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Koldart.
Yes. All right, 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the PMA agenda. Seeing none. Proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Six, any new business? Number 7.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Koldart.
Yes. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of City Council, November 15th at 6:17. Roll call, please.
Wines. Here. White.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck.
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Koldart.
Here.
Strellick.
I forgot the invocation on the first meeting. Russ, would you mind?
Yeah.
doing the invocation?
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this government that you've established, the way to manage the people and the way to bring services to those who need it most. Dear Lord, we ask this evening as this council meets together, that you will bless them with wisdom, that you'll bless them with discernment, that you'll help them make the decisions that better Perry's future and make the citizens here whole. Dear Lord, we thank you most of all for your Son, and we thank you for the gift of eternal life we have through him. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Russ. All right, consent agenda. A through E.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Koldart.
Yes. All right, number 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda.
Was this where I'm supposed to say something? Can I wait till after he's done? Or am I not, we're not on that meeting yet?
We are on the meeting. Would you like to say anything, or would you like to wait until?
I would like to wait till
Okay.
engineer's done, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body.
I would like to say I noticed the street department had filled some holes on 8th Street, and that was really nice. So I appreciate that.
Number 7, Chief Financial Officer report.
Number
Did I skip one?
Yep.
I'll be happy.
Larry?
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
City Manager report.
We have a presentation for our seasonal event here. Would you like to step up, Officer?
Hello, I'm Sergeant Will Foster. I'm also the FOP President and Secretary. I'm here today to speak about the Santa Cup program that we do every year. This year we've got 16 kids that we will be delivering presents to. Our current time to do this, the wrapping is the 22nd of December, and then delivery on the 23rd. Let me make sure that's correct. Actually, it's the 21st is the wrapping, and 22nd, Wednesday the 22nd, we will be delivering to the kids in town. The way that works is our newest officer dresses up as Santa, and the guys on duty will actually just go and help, and then whoever can show up from the FOP. I know we have families of our members that show up for the wrapping party. What I'm doing here tonight is to let everybody know that we do take donations from right up here. Connie usually has the receipt book in right outside her office. We take toys or the monetary donations.
Is there an age range on this? You said 16 kids?
There's 16 kids. I'm not sure what the age range is. The last few years, it's gone from newborns to 14 to 15 years old.
And that's at the dispatch?
Right in here,
Okay.
just outside of Connie's office. You can just come into the front lobby and tell them that you want to donate for Santa Cup, and an officer will come down and actually talk with you and do that process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another quick note, Dollar General reached out to us, and they're also supporting this year. You go to Dollar General, you can buy a toy, they should have a box set up for donation, and all the donations go towards us to help some other kids out as well, so.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Okay, one of our local electrical contractors, UEI, has been working on the lights on Fur, and all but 2 or 3 of those lights from 15th all the way up the interstate have been repaired. You know, also remember that we were doing an airport drainage project. J&J contractor is the, J&J Solutions, I'm sorry, is the contractor on that, and they're about 45% complete overall as of last week. And lastly, there's been a sinkhole in right in between the clinic, the SMC clinic, and Sister Spirits. And we have engineering, we've got estimates, we just can't find anybody that's willing to work for it. So we're continuing to do that. That's been something that just keeps, dragging this project along. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of here shortly. It's something that needs to be done. Any questions or anything?
Thank you for fixing those lights. I know that we've been harping, so.
Our pleasure.
Something like that, but thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry about that. I guess we'll go with this now. Chief Financial Officer report.
Well, since Bryce has a stack of papers to talk about tonight, I'll make mine quick. And appreciate it. Just a handful of little things as we continue to move through the year. We're about a third of the way through the year, so as you look at these numbers, you can kind of guess based on 33%, give or take, is where we ought to be. Sales tax, month to date, that's deposited in November, we were up almost 16%. Our use tax is up 15%, which last year was a really good November deposit anyhow, so that's actually really encouraging. Year to date for our sales tax, we're about 4% ahead of where we were last year. So, that's why you're going to see 39%, we're well over what we were expecting. Our use tax, though, is down. We're down about 8% year to date. Again, use tax, guys, is the piece that whenever it's bought either out of state or somebody doesn't pay sales tax initially and has to turn around and pay sales tax on the use of those goods, that's what use tax comes in at. So it's a whole lot harder to predict, but it's also a much smaller portion of our overall income when we look at it. But the fluctuation is continuing. We are seeing this trend across most of our municipalities right now. As people are getting out and about more and going back to shopping in person and doing those kind of things, the online sales numbers are continuing to fall a little bit, which is resulting in this use tax, because that's mainly where our increase came from. So we're losing that piece. I try to say it everywhere I go. Buy here. If you can't buy here, stay at home and ship it here. Because shipping it here helps us out long term. We will still collect those dollars, and those dollars still get back into the economy via sales tax. So just something to kind of keep in mind as we continue to look at that. The other big piece on here, hotel motel tax, coming in at $19,000 for the month. Everybody is paid up current on that. We did have to do a little collection work, but everybody is paid up at this point, so $19,000 on that. So we are covering our debt service requirements and actually making positive numbers again. We went through that stretch there whenever, that number was 7,000 and 8,000, for about 6 months. So that number being back up, 19,000 is a good number for us. Just looking at that. The rest of the pieces, pretty much like I said, sales tax. If you looked individually inside any of those components, guys, everybody's doing a great job on their budget. There's a couple of departments that are a little bit high in some personnel costs. It's mainly some overtime costs when I went through it. But for the most part, we're doing really well as far as expenses go. We just got to be conservative in what we're spending and how we're committing all of our dollars. I know we adopted a budget deficit for the year. We're looking at $780,000. A lot of that's capital outlay, but I always want to cut that as close to zero as we can cut it. My goal is, I know we won't get to zero this year. There's just no way with what's going on, but I do want to keep us just as conservative as we can in those spending pieces. A couple of other big things. ARPA funds have come in. The first half of our money, $442,000, has been deposited. That's the piece that we have to spend on water, wastewater, and broadband. I'm leaving kind of broadband out across the board. I don't know if you guys saw the infrastructure plan that the president passed. There's another $65 billion in it for broadband. So, I think my encouragement to all of our councils, again, you guys can choose what you want to do, but between what we have going on with some direct-to-home fiber that's been approved and actually, I think has started construction.
This is the third week.
Yeah, so we're already doing that. I think leaving broadband out of our ARPA, direction is going to be one of the things that we need to look at. Also related to that, the state of Oklahoma has about $1.8 billion related to ARPA. If you did an allocate, now they're not going to allocate it this way, but if you did an allocation, it's another about $2 million that the city of Perry would be eligible for under a direct, population allocation. They're not going to do that, but if they did, there's some significant money that we potentially need to look at going after at the state level. It is going to be a little more difficult to receive those funds. Matter of fact, Larry and I have been working on a project list. But pretty much you have to apply by project that is immediately shovel ready. So it'll have to be fully engineered. It'll have to be ready to go to bid within the next 90 days of an award coming from the state. But those dollars are out there. They're going to be competitive. It's not one of those things that it has to be done tomorrow because they haven't even had the first set of committee meetings on applying for those. So what will happen is we'll apply for, if we have a project, we'll apply for that project. That project will then get divided into one of 4 subcommittees, which are based on the usage of ARPA funds at the federal level. We'll have to present to that board. That board will then make a recommendation whether or not it's funded. It goes up to the governor's office and gets signed. So there's some work to it. There's some leg work, but whenever you're talking significant dollars, we need to kind of talk about, what do we want and how do we want to put those dollars, in priority plans and in that. There's a lot of back rules and little things that will have to be being navigated, but for the most part, it's something that we probably ought to look at long-term. You know, so if we end up with, $880,000 of direct money coming to us, and then we turn around and could pick up, another million and a half, $2 million for some water or sewer project. Broadband is also in there. I mean, it covers the same gamut that we can use ours for, but if we can cover those kind of things, I think it's gonna be something that we really need to look at and need to work towards. So, that's the big ARPA piece is really probably the biggest thing that we have to discuss. So, it's out there and it's something else that we need to look at, prioritization, after meetings and after everything that kind of come together, hey, let's stick this on the top of our list. And we'll have to have your all's approval before we can apply for those. It's not something that Larry or I can just go out and submit. It'll come with resolutions and council approval and all the backing and everything like that. So we do have that coming up, and it'll be after the first of the year before they even get to doing that. They're not back in session really after the first of the year until February. So it'll be sometime down the road that this committee start meeting and start taking those. But we need to look at it. So
Remind me, you said water, but that includes sewer also?
water and sewer, yes, yeah, water and sewer projects.
And the 8% that's fiscal year, right?
Fiscal year, yes, yeah, fiscal year.
And how we are that we're having fiber companies come to us instead of us having to spend some of the ARPA money going out and doing that. City of Perry's in a good position now. This community's in a good position for that too. I think we're very fortunate.
I did mention too, and I can't remember where their map is, but if it doesn't extend, that the fiber project doesn't extend as much as we want, then there is a possibility of working with them to extend that. I don't know what the map is, though I can remember. And I told them that they would have to talk to Larry, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm good.
All right, item 8, presentation by the MKEC on drainage ditch proposal. Appropriate $50,000 from drainage fee account and direct MKEC to proceed with surveying and detailed plans for providing ditch improvement along 2nd Street. Larry?
Adam Castor. Adam, would you like to come up, please? This is Adam Castor from MKEC. It's a different face than we've seen in the past, I think. But
It is a new face. Keith wanted you guys to meet another one of us. You're welcome, I guess.
And you said that you were missing tonight your son's wrestling?
Yes. Yeah, I help out with the middle school wrestling for his school. So that's fun, but luckily I got a good substitute in there. So
Good.
Should
Thank
be good to
you.
go.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate you guys having me. So here we are again, looking at an issue that you guys have known about longer than I've known about it. But I have been a part of the crew at MKEC that's looked this over and has been trying to come up with the best solutions as we move forward. Obviously, as we move forward with the solutions, we also want to make sure we're not causing other issues. So that's really why I'm here, is just to discuss where we're going, what our plan is, and another step in between to make sure that we're going to end up with something that's helpful. How helpful that is, that's another question, and we will be able to talk on that after we get this additional survey in. As we move forward with this plan, if you look at your front sheet, I don't know if it's on there. There you go. Got this broken down into 4 really points of concern that we want to look at. As all this water gets funneled down Tower and then down 2nd and into the alley, we really need to study how that water gets into the alley, number 1. That's what we would call inlet control. And then you have your barrel control or your channel control as that water moves east through the alley and then opens back up into point 2. Just visually out there, it feels like it opens up a little bit, and the more area you have that can handle water, the the better it works. And so the more we squeeze it down, the deeper it has to be. The water has to be. And the deeper it is, then the more it's a concern for residents. And then as we move to point 3, the issue there is going to be velocity. As the water is exiting the alley, if it's traveling too fast, it's going to try to make a hard 90-degree angle. Potential for hydraulic jump there, another chance for the water to get deeper as it slows down or scouring the road. So we want to make sure we understand what's happening at point 3. And then finally, point 4 is where everything ends up in this area. I think we were looking upwards of 200 CFS coming through that area during a 100-year storm. It's a large amount of water trying to hit that point, and again, turning another 90 degrees, which again is problematic as far as hydraulics go. So we want to make sure that we widen out that channel and account for all the velocities that we're going to see there in erosion. Real quick, sheet number 2, it doesn't really apply to what we have in this particular scenario, but I did want to show it as an example of how we look at things through. This is a program called HECRAS. Each one of those yellow lines is a cross section, and each one of those cross sections has multiple spot elevations on it, so you can pull up the cross section of the channel. You can see exactly how deep it is at each one of these cross sections. And then we plop that back onto the plan view survey, and you can look at the pink versus the purple. And that's telling you how wide that spreads out over the area. So what we would look at here is, all right, well, we're looking at a 5-year storm. We've got cross sections, and we did a preliminary one that said, all right, 5-10-year storm we can handle, and it's only going to be 6 inches deep. 100-year storm might be 2 feet deep. What we'd be able to do with our program is to show you what that actually looks like on your site. So we could tell when that is actually approaching a house. So we should be able to tell you, all right, well, we can handle the 2-year, the 5-year, 10-year starts to be problematic. So that's where we're heading with our grading. Concerns we have with the grading in that alley. There are a lot of utilities in that alley already. There's power poles there, saw a telephone, sanitary, sewer, and gas. All of those buried lines, we're going to have to make sure that we coordinate with all those utilities, and we may potentially have to move them or lower them to allow us to put in as the best channel we can to handle as much water as we can. Obviously the space is a real constraint here as well. We're only 20 foot wide in that alley. Typically, well, best practices is to start at the property line and just work in from there. There may be some cases where perhaps we can work with a neighbor, and might have to look at getting some additional easement to handle as much flow as what's coming through this area. That would be a scenario that might be out there. Ultimately, again, we don't want to do anything here that's going to cause further damage downstream. So if we open it up, instead of having a 5-foot opening at 2nd Street, we put a 100-foot opening, just throwing out numbers. All of a sudden we've got 20 times as much water entering our channel. What does that do to our downstream guys? So that's what we're trying to avoid. Does anybody have any questions with where we're going with our process, with what we plan on bringing back to show you exactly what we're doing? The other thing with that model is we're looking at the model. It's showing you what's really there is spending $50,000 worth it to get to a 2-year storm or a 5-year storm, or do we want to put that elsewhere? So that's some of the checkpoints we need to proceed with.
So I think when Keith was here last time, and I don't remember the exact numbers or terms that he used, but this channel was not ideal, obviously. Not just how it's constructed, but he even talked about what it could possibly handle with the width and
Right.
everything. So I guess your last comment there is kind of within that realm, but is, one, are we gonna be able to handle it? And two, at point 3, I think once we get down there, if we're handling more, how do you make sure that with that velocity it turns, especially once you're hitting pavement?
Yeah, well, what that will do, just with the physics of water, it's going to shoot right across the road, and it's going to hit the next constraint, next wall that it can. Judging by the LiDAR contours that I'm seeing on here, it does go up a couple feet before we get to those houses. We'll have to see if that's enough. Otherwise, potentially looking at putting in some manner of blocking on the west side of the street that would just slowly let it out. I don't know if you've gone to the dams before, but spillways at the dams downstream of there, they sometimes put these gigantic concrete blocks just to dissipate the energy of the water. Anytime you dissipate the energy of the water, when the water's flowing fast, it tends to get skinny. When you slow it down, it gets deep again. So if we do any sort of energy dissipator, we need to make sure again that doesn't cause an issue on the west side of the street. But those are real concerns and things that we need to keep our eye on as we're designing these improvements.
Questions?
I say something?
Sorry. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank you all for listening, and I was sick and I watched it on TV, and thank you guys for stepping up and stopping to have the engineer come back. It made me feel like you guys really listened to me, and I appreciate that. Because although I want my house to stop flooding, I don't want anybody else's to flood. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I've went through. I talked to Mr. Condit 2 weeks ago, and he's put $250,000 in his home before he sold it and moved out. That's what total cost him in repairing his home every time it flooded. That's down at .4 on this one right here. So it's at the very end. What he's trying to pass for $50,000 is not going to work in our area. It's just not. It's wasting that money. I would rather that money go into savings and live with those ugly sandbags in front of my house like they are right now for however long he's going to make me keep them, because he knows I can't move them. 4 grown men brought them in 4 trucks and a flatbed to put them out, lying in front of my house, and they're still going to be there because I and my mother cannot move them. I would rather them stay there forever to fix this right than to try to put a Band-Aid on a hole in a swimming pool, because that's basically what we're doing. I would rather send you pictures and show you the amount of water we get and do it right, and have you guys back me in this and do it so everybody gets some peace. I want my whole neighborhood to stay nice. My house is almost paid off. I would like to live there until we pass, I just want it done right. And to waste $50,000 is insane to me for something that's not going to work, and it's not going to stop it. Until we figure out why that water puddles and it inundates all those houses, and there's many houses. There's 5 on that corner that have flooded continuously. I've watched them redo it while I've done mine. 5 on just that corner. I can walk around and get people that have their houses that have flooded. It's not just mine. I'm just the most vocal. Most of those people rent. Most of those people have moved and sold their houses. The one catty corner that's been remodeled 3 times, it's sold to 3 different people in the last 2.5 years. So I would rather it be done and keep neighbors like the Willies that I've known forever. We watch each other's house. Their kids play. I'm not trying to buck the system. I just would rather it be done right. And I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate the city council and the mayor for not pushing it through, because common sense, we need to fix the whole area so more people want to move in those houses when they're up for sale. Instead of them keep turning over and over. We have empty houses there now. So that's all, and I will give you any picture, any video, anything that you need. I've sent him, I don't know how many pictures and videos over the years. My lawyer has sent the lawyer some. They have them. I don't know why you don't.
Well, and Keith might have them, I just haven't seen them.
I'm willing to do what it takes. I'm here.
Is the French drain that you put in, is it helping at all?
That helps my water on my property, but now I got a river that runs along the French drains. It's not stopping the water coming on the property, it just goes around the sandbags. The amount of water we get on a regular rain there is crazy. The water runs north and south instead of east and west. The water used to run from the wards down through the Vesters, down into my yard until Terrence put his patio back there, and now it stopped it. So he's right, the water doesn't run this way, it runs this way. It needs, it's bad. It's bad. But I just want to thank you guys. I just want to thank you. And thank you for bringing me the dirt to put on top of my dirt. I appreciate that. But you know I can't move those sandbags. And like I said, if they have to stay there forever, that's fine until we get this fixed. I'm done arguing about it. Whatever it takes to keep my house dry, I'm all for it. But yes, my drains are working wonderful. But it's still not stopping the water everywhere else. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. I will say, I haven't studied what all's happened at her house. French drains are typically there to relieve the problem after the flooding's happened. You don't typically size a French drain to handle the brunt of the 100-year storm. But it will help drain faster later, after the flooding's occurred.
Isn't putting structures in the road where there may not be utilities, I mean, is that just an expensive option? Like, for instance, that road on the, I mean, we don't have a lot of storm drains here, but, I mean, that's what they do in big cities. Is that like the most expensive option? I think moving utilities and all that, it may.
Well, the problem, if there is a problem with putting in underground stormwater sewer, is that typically you're removing the road too, so it becomes a big road project. You know, yes, there is a reason why people put those in, and Wichita and big cities, they have them all over the place. They're very efficient at getting things underground and away from where you see it. Out of sight, out of mind, somewhat. Those things also have to daylight somewhere. And, you know, judging by the contours, it looks like we could get something daylighted down at the railroad fairly easily. But again, it's a lot of water. It's a large amount of water. We're talking about a substantial size of pipe to convey it.
Like 48 inches or bigger than that?
Depends on how much you want. You know, again, big cities, depending on where you are and what kind of escape routes you have. Residential neighborhoods are pretty common to size it for just the 2-year storm. So that means the pipe itself can handle all the water that would fall on average once every 2 years. So pretty common storm. And then what you look at ultimately is the 100-year storm, you know, the big storm that happens once every 100 years, and what happens with that water. And again, you're looking at escape routes, you know, so I can handle all of this water underground, and then everything above that has to flow above ground. Does it go down the street? Does it go down an alley? Where does it go? Ultimately, the answer when we're looking at things is, you know, just can't go into a structure. You know, so as long as it's not going into a house or a building, that 100-year storm we're not so concerned with it. But if it gets dammed up and the only escape route is through a building, well, then we start upsizing our pipe to get more of it underground.
But I mean, for that run right there, I mean, for a 10-year storm, a 20-year storm, I mean, what are we talking about, 12 inches?
No, I think you're closer with your 48-inch pipe.
And then once it gets down to 4, does it hit a navigable creek or something at this point? Or, I mean, what is that?
We're gonna have to do some improvements from that point, getting it off the street into a better, bigger ditch that would route it to the ditch along the railroad. We've done some preliminary calcs, and it looks like that ditch along the railroad can handle anything we need to
Right.
send to it. But we gotta get it to that.
Well, I
Just-
don't know, what is the status of that road out there? We didn't repave it, have we?
No,
No.
it's terrible.
I think it still looks
Tower's
pretty much.
terrible.
Yeah.
And we did say we have the easement there at point 4, right?
Yeah, it's
That's
open
what I
here.
Yeah, I believe I heard that city owns quite a bit of land in that area.
Goes by the railroad tracks.
So one thing we kind of talked about last time, and it's not on the map, but up above here to the north, it's higher elevation.
Mhm.
And I don't know, as far as rainfall, how much of that is direct within the neighborhood rainfall and how much of it is, sorry for the terms here, but how much of it is coming in from other areas?
From the basin itself.
And is there an opportunity for retainage above?
I'm gonna pull up the drainage report that we had previously. I know you guys probably don't have access to this, but a significant amount of the water coming to point 1 on our map is coming from the west. Really, you get up, I forget, what's the street north of Tower? So we get about 1 block north of Tower is all that's coming down our way, to the west of 2nd Street. And then it continues up to the north from there.
Fourth.
Is that 4th,
Fourth is the daycare and Noble's the one right up north.
north of Tower?
Yep.
Okay. So from Noble south is really coming down our way. West of 2nd Street. Right now, it looks like in that basin, it's pretty well developed. Meaning there's houses, most places. The other problem is the further upstream you get, the less your detention will be able to capture. So you can, detention's a great thing. If you could put a big detention pond right at point 1, you could substantially help out people to the east of you.
Well, I was thinking about before the basin altogether.
Well, if you get outside of the basin, it's not helping you at all.
It's not, that was my question.
Yeah, you gotta be able to feed it something,
Well, okay, so maybe our terms are,
Right.
this neighborhood being the basin, is that what you're calling the basin?
Well, I'll show you my map. So we're looking right here at point 1, and all of this area drains to point 1. So if you put a pond clear over here, well, then you're looking at a basin like this feeding that pond, which doesn't really do much for you because you're not feeding it.
Okay, so none of this feeds it at all?
No, this area, if I look at it, it looks like it comes off this way. So this is kind of the ridge line
Okay.
separating the two.
All right, yeah, this was the area I was
Yep.
thinking it might be coming from.
Yeah, that might be able to help a different location, but it doesn't look like that area drains to us right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I had somebody ask me, could you do a directional dig in the back instead of taking out people's backyards?
A directional dig as far as
instead of moving all of the whole fractional dig and bore it back instead of tearing up everyone's backyard?
The potential's there, however, you're limited with the size of pipe that you can put in there. If we're talking about a pipe that can handle 100 CFS, again, we're talking like a 36 to 48 inch pipe. And that becomes pretty hard to pull. Directional drilling and dredging works really well in the 16 and under. It just takes a lot more power and bigger equipment, and you're displacing some earth anyway. Not typically with that size of pipe.
No, it wouldn't bother me, but I just don't want, just thinking
Yeah.
of other people.
The other thing with, if you're putting pipes underground, a pipe underground is a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. You have to have enough inlets to physically get the water into it as well. So the placement of the inlets is pretty key as well. So, like if you're going to put a big pipe down tower, but all your inlets are to the east of 2nd Street, you're not going to catch anything. So it's not doing you any good. You got to get to where the water is, and then have a big enough opening to actually collect it. Does anybody have any other questions? Or if you do, if something comes up, Larry's got my email as well. No, it's not a fun project because it's a problem child project, but we'll, I think everybody's goal is the same. Just trying to improve it without causing damage elsewhere.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
All right, council. What do y'all want you to do?
I think I'm gonna make my way home.
Thank you for coming.
No problem. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What would y'all like to do, council?
So do we table till we have better options? Some kind of a lackluster recommendation to do this plan.
It would seem to me that you handle these issues as he discussed by basins, you know? And so to have them develop a cost for solving the drainage issues in this basin would seem to be reasonable way to, to approach this. With a caveat in it that that we want to make sure that is part of something overall, and so that we consider at least that portion which is flooding and having these water problems, that we don't hurt anything else. But it sounds to me like we've got a route to an area that can handle the water. So this is capable of being designed, but at this point, I would think that you would look at a preliminary, feasibility study of kind of what that would look like, and it's just a matter of contours, and gradients and setting out a recommendation. I mean, and heck, that, let's say that's $50,000, you know? I mean, with plans and specs. Well, now you have a shovel-ready project that Russ was talking about, you know, because this is water.
No.
Well-
I think we've been told we can't use it for drainage.
So just the other day, they released a fact from
Okay.
Treasury related to it. And to the extent, there's a specific question in that related to stormwater and usage for stormwater projects. To the extent that the project follows the Clean Water Drinking Act rules and is an attempt to maintain clean water, as those are the words that are in the FAQ, attempt to maintain clean water, then potentially you can qualify that program as part of a stormwater project, as part of water and sewer under ARMP. So,
Well,
now,
and
it's
then also-
a little bit of a stretch, but once that ruling came out, we said, well, this would be another piece that could be used for it. So that is in there if that's the direction that we wanted to go.
And then we have $250,000 in the drainage
Yeah.
account, whether you'd want to use all of that or not, but, I mean, it all starts with a plan, you know, and if we don't like this because we think, I mean, I think he just said that it's got a number of failure points in it, we ought to ask for something which will work. And a preliminary feasibility study, it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be a fortune, particularly if you don't ask for plans and specs. You just want a study that tells you what you could do and what that would look like, and some kind of an estimate. So, I mean, we've got to come up with an estimate. So I'm just suggesting that could be a direction.
Well, I
Didn't
thought
he
that's what
give
we
us two-
approved and asked
Yeah.
for previously. So now I'm a little confused of where we've been and where we're going, I guess is.
Because they came with 2 plans, 3 plans,
It came
Three?
with 3.
3.
They came with 3, if you go back to the meeting, I'm sorry, because I went back to the meeting and I watched it before that 2 weeks ago's meeting, because I like to do my homework and be prepared. They came with 3, and then he said that there was only 2 that would work because the first one wouldn't work. And the city manager argued with me at the meeting, the last one I was in, and said, no, there was 3 proposals, and I told him, no, there was 2, because the first one wouldn't work, and he said he was gonna get the estimate for all 3 of them. Then he came 2 weeks ago and said that there was only 2 that was gonna work, and then tried to sell you guys with the one that he didn't even come up and tell us. That's what happened 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to say it real short and simple and to the point.
So Bryce, if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like the plans they presented us deals just with this small area. You're thinking we do a feasibility study for the entire basin?
Well,
Makes it more of a citywide kind of water
Well,
management.
the picture that he brought over here,
Mhm.
I wish we had a copy, but it was just basically from the high school baseball field down through that neighborhood, and that was the basin that he's talking about.
Okay.
So
which is how many blocks would you?
it's three-ish blocks roughly.
Okay.
It's basically from the it doesn't go all the way to the highway, but from right field to the baseball field, down through that neighborhood, and
It's just the Sorrel addition, it's just that housing addition. We create our own water. If you look at the plans he gave us in the last one that he broke down all the drainage, it says our drainage is caused by our own. All of our water is from that housing addition. None of our drainage comes from any of the other drainage, is what it says in the first report that we got that first day, the first time he came. It says that all of our drainage water comes from the inside of that housing addition, and the way we're our own drainage problem, is that what you're asking? Yeah.
So if we did that basin, it would just be that
Addition.
addition, but I thought that's kind of already what we were,
What we paid in the
what we were
initial.
doing.
And then what we would have to do is if we agreed we wanted to go do this, and they would have to do the survey on top of that. Like he just said, like they would have to really study it and,
Yeah, they're gonna have to come out and survey. I mean, they gave us options. They haven't given us plans. At the last meeting, we asked, or we put it up there for him to proceed with plans. And so it very well may be to proceed with plans on the more expensive
on a bigger
option.
project,
To
hoping that we
ensure-
can.
Yeah, to
fund.
ensure that is in fact what we're talking about, and that's limiting it to the Sorrel addition, if that's what the council wants to do. And I think what you could do is just direct, the city manager and city attorney to get with them and to bring that proposal back to you at the next meeting, and we'll actually see what that costs, and maybe some maps of it, and look at that and make a decision, if that sounds good.
It doesn't feel good to put $50,000 into this project that is only gonna last for, will only hold for a 2-year storm. I think it feels like a waste of funds, not a waste, I don't mean it like
I
that, but
understand.
I don't think it's as wise as putting it, especially if we can work towards some of the water acts and things like that that have just been passed, and hopefully fixing it right for everyone, because I'm really concerned that we've already talked about 0.3 is already a problem. This is gonna, moving the problem isn't going to help the problem.
And he said it's 2 foot on the street, but I think if it does go in the street, I think those sit lower than the road, I believe there too, so that would not be good if we had too much water at 3.
The backyards are already flooded as it is when it rains.
We really need this to fall into a Clean Water Act,
Works and magic.
Well,
because we don't have the funds.
we'll have to, we'll have to go through a lot of hoops to make it down that road.
So does that mean we table it, or do we?
Well, I think you can direct Larry and I to get that on your agenda at the next meeting.
Okay. So I would feel more comfortable because I didn't get a warm fuzzy feeling on this. And when he starts talking about putting, concrete blocks up to do the velocity, and there's a lot of kids that live down there, that just scares me.
Yeah.
So I would rather have a bigger plan.
Well, you lived at the end of that block.
I lived at the end
It's
of that
already a
block.
problem.
Yeah, it's already a problem, so. When you start talking about points 3 and 4, I just don't get a warm fuzzy about it.
Yeah, I think he explained it very well.
I do too.
I just want to apologize, this is not going to be fast.
That's okay. I would rather it be done good. I don't want my house to flood and be not flooded now and in 2 years to flood. I don't want anybody to ever have to go what we've been through ever. Why do you think I can't sell my home to somebody else to do this? So I'm with you guys
Okay.
for the long haul. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to take everything.
Do we have a motion?
Motion for city manager and attorney to go back to MKEC for a larger scale plan. Does that satisfy that?
Good.
Second.
2 weeks.
Hopefully that has the magic clean water words in it.
For the next meeting?
We're not the
Oh, for the
engineer
next
on that
meeting,
side
yes,
of it.
I'm
You
sorry.
make him
Excuse me.
We want everybody to have clean water in there,
clean water.
clean water, as much as you can.
Thank you.
It's flowing through the dirt, we want it to be clean water.
That's right.
It didn't make any sense whenever I read it, but I'm not the engineer. I just read the rules. So, matter of fact, it's in that email that I just sent you.
It must be influencing groundwater. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's protecting groundwater is what it's
Yeah, I
for.
mean, that's what it sounds like.
They're gonna protect groundwater.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Larry,
No.
thanks for having him come back. I mean, I know this is what we can afford today, which is why you were asking him to do it, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna solve, it could make it worse.
So we just moved the.
And dangerous, if you ask me.
I'd be really worried if
I
I was
don't
that
Unless
house.
they even 4 houses or
That's
Right
what
there.
it
Oh,
5
that's-
houses.
Oh, do you want us to flood it? I mean,
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
No.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
yes.
Goldar.
Yes. All right.
She knows.
Sure we don't skip anything else. Number 9, consider an alleged vacancy of Mike Morrell from his seat as member of Perry City Council. Make determination with respect to such vacancy. I believe Mike's here.
Yes.
Would you like to?
Still a little slow.
Good to see you're on your feet again.
Thank you.
Sit down.
No. As many of you know, I had a colon infection that had me in the hospital 31 days. It should have had me in there longer than that because this started hitting around June. Then my sodium got dangerously low, so we had to get that fixed. Right now, I'm getting better with the C. diff. It kills 15,000 people a year in the United States. So I came pretty close to that. It was nip and tuck. So I enjoy serving on the city council, and I would like for you to look at it and judge for yourselves.
Well, you're looking better.
Thank
Yeah, you are. You're looking
I feel
good.
better.
Coloring is looking really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worried about you there for.
Yeah, I was too. But anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Now, do you need me to stick around, or?
Do we? What?
No, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, we can.
Thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
It's good to see you.
It's good to be seen.
I did see.
All right, council. What would we like to do on this item? I don't know that there's any action on this item, or do we do it on, do we?
Well, you can make a determination under the letter that Larry sent him that his seat is in fact vacant. You know, it's been vacant since, essentially October 1st. There's not a whole lot of defense, so you can make that motion, because it really is yours to make that decision, but then you move right to 10 and take whatever action you want in 10.
I mean, by rule or law, we have to make that determination. I mean, there's, it doesn't matter the reason that he missed or anything
No,
else. It has to be
Yeah.
done, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So it's just a motion to determine that seat's vacated.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wine,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. 10, if it is determined that the seat is vacant, consider appointment of qualified candidate to Ward 3, Post 1.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mike. I know he's getting better and stronger every day. He's served this community very well, and I feel like he'll be at the capacity that he can come back and continue to serve. So, that's my stance.
I would like to second that. I want someone that's dependable, just like everybody else, and I know that he hadn't been dependable, but it's also not a choice that he made. So I would like to see him have that chance again. And it's really nothing short of a miracle that we're seeing him right now. So I'd like to give him that opportunity.
Agree. He did not miss meetings. He didn't have, I mean, until this, and it was unknown to him. I agree. It's good to see him, and I feel like he should at least be able to finish his term that was here, if that's what he wants to do on the council.
He certainly pushed himself to be here.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And he really is getting stronger and better every week, so I think we'll just continue to see him bounce, hopefully back completely to his old self.
But I think it's important to have somebody who is that dedicated and it is something that he's passionate about.
Absolutely.
So,
And the institutional knowledge that he possesses as well.
Absolutely.
With all the years that he's been on the council. We lose that.
absolutely.
if
He
he's
does
not.
look much better, so,
Well, I think that also shows him that he has the support too.
yes.
Good point.
Roll call, please.
I did not really understand all that you said in your motion.
I would like to appoint Mike, because he's been voted, I mean, he's vacant, his seat is vacant, so if Mike is gonna seat in, then we have to appoint him back, which is what my motion is.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
And if not, then this goes,
It'll go to an election unless you make another appointment before the end of this month.
Which would have to be a special meeting
Yes.
also, right?
Yes.
yeah, because I was gonna say, I thought this is our last meeting before we would have to move
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yeah.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. Okay. Anything else we need to do there, Bryce?
No.
11.
When he comes back, he needs to be resworn
Okay.
and sign the papers again, because this is,
Sure.
the other one doesn't apply. This is a new term.
Okay. But nothing tonight.
Nope.
Okay. 11, consider appointment of council person to the Perry City Council Ward 1 Post 1, or Ward 1 Post 1. All right, council, this is the vacancy of Josh Bell. Or-
Not heard anyone yet.
We still have some
what,
time on this
I
one.
was gonna
don't
say, what is our time?
Well,
frame
we're
on
gonna
this
have to have a special meeting before the next meeting. I think that we figured out this is like December 4th. And our meeting is December 6th,
Of course.
so.
If there isn't anybody that we find to appoint, do you still do the special?
Then we would have on December 6th, we would have an election resolution.
Let's get to work, council.
Tomorrow in Tonkawa, one of their people resigned and they just decided 60 days hasn't passed. I don't even think that 10 days have passed. They just decided, we're gonna let the public decide. So, but if you don't do it within 60 days, the public decides. And of course, as you know, with the mayor, you can't reappoint the mayor. That has to go to an election. So if the mayor's seat got vacant, that would have to go.
I think the main concern there is cost, right? Just how
There
much-
is cost. I don't know that we have, I haven't looked at that yet, but, that's normally $3,000 or $4,000, right? Yeah.
Depending on which one you piggyback on whatever it is.
Does anyone know if Bill has anyone in mind or has talked to anybody?
Last
I
time I talked to him, he didn't.
I spoke to him earlier today, and he
Yeah.
did not have anything
Same
for this piece.
Well, I keep intending to go to the election board and see if I could get a list of voters in that position, ward, but I keep forgetting it until I come to council meeting. But that's something I might could do tomorrow, but we'd still have to have a special meeting and see if there's anyone that we think might be eligible.
You can't just nominate your next door neighbor?
Huh?
You can't nominate your next door neighbor?
Tell him to go carpool to the meeting. He lives on this side
Yeah,
of
we
it.
can't do that then, right?
I don't think that's my next door neighbor would be.
So not that I think this is a good idea, I'm just wondering what would happen
Would want
if you
to
just
serve.
did nominate some random person, and then let them say, no, I don't want it. Does that extend the time you have to nominate someone that wants it?
Well, and
Well,
they
get
have
him to swear in, and then resign, and then you can get it in 60 days. But
and they have to be
sworn in.
qualified.
Right, okay.
They have to be qualified, so they have to be.
I'm not suggesting we do that, I'm just
Resident, they have to be-
curious about,
They have to be a resident, they don't necessarily have to want to, right? That's not part of the qualification.
Well, they have to raise their hand.
To get them sworn in. It needs to be somebody you could swear in, okay?
We might be able to get them here.
They could resign after that meeting and say, well, this is too much.
I tried on the way in.
They resign, they say, heck, I have to sit next to Russ every council meeting, I want something different.
I asked on the way in, and somebody told me no, so that was because of you, Russ, but.
Thanks.
He's not joking.
Oh, I believe it.
Just kidding. Okay, well, sounds like we need to put some feelers out and see if anybody's interested.
So.
We have until the 4th, right? Is that what you said? We have
Yes, till the 4th, and we could put something on Facebook, and we could publish the ward map
Yeah.
and show it's within this area, and anyone who may like to serve, submit a resume of qualifications, and the council will consider them. We could put that on Facebook and on our webpage.
That's something that really needs updated on our actual website, is when you look at the wards, you really can't make them out.
It would be nice to at least have street names for reference.
Yeah, that is something incidentally that we're gonna bring back, and that is after each federal census, every 10 years. You're supposed to look at your wards, and you're supposed to reapportion them, and we're in the process of bringing you an item on that. But it won't affect this, because you've gotta go through a whole process and you're supposed to adjust the wards. The wards are supposed to have similar populations, okay? So what they do is they take the census, which identifies where people live, and they put the map, and they hit a computer button, and they say, how many people are in each area, and then you do what, the nasty word that they say, you do gerrymandering. You decide to drop down, and let's pick up this community. Maybe we'll get some good qualified folks, but you do it in a manner to adjust it similar in population.
That was supposed to happen when we redid the charter, right? When we evaluated the charter?
Well, it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen every 10 years, after the census comes out. That's the timing, because that's when the data comes out.
Okay.
And of course, we just learned they just put it out a few months ago, and we learned about the population and all that.
Yeah, and the state hasn't even finished, the reassignment of House and Senate districts yet.
It's been a lot slower because of COVID, and, it's normally a lot quicker.
Okay. So if we do happen to find a nomination before the 4th, how should we go about that special meeting? Typically, it takes, 3 council people to get a special meeting, so I didn't know.
Or the city manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so, we can make that happen, we just need to check availability of the councilmen, and, we could do that and ask for applications. You could at least look over some applications. I know that is a ward that has been, difficult to find people who want to serve.
Is there any action we need to take on this item, Bryce?
No,
Okay.
not unless you have a nominee.
Any further discussion? Number 12, consider appointment of member to the Perry Planning Commission. And this one, I believe that Bill does have Brad Marshall as his nomination.
And Brad has agreed to do it.
Correct.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, since I said we do a motion
So
to
moved.
approve, Brad. Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar.
You guys gave me the broken chair intentionally, didn't you?
It wasn't broke before.
Jamie, you did it intentionally. Whereas Amber, you two left first, like you've been waiting on it all night.
It's just happened to me enough. I'm glad to see it happen to someone else. Poor Lily.
13, consider approval of grant agreement for $180,000 from the Malzahn Family Affiliated Fund for the purchase of the asphalt zipper. Something we've been discussing for a while. There was the demo. Larry, do you have any further info?
It's really $180,200. The grant agreement, the way this works is you approve it, I sign it, it goes to the Malzahns, to the foundation, and actually it goes to OCCF, and they give us a check. What I'll do tonight is sign this order for the zipper, because we're 4 to 5, 6 months out. But this gets us in the queue, so to speak. I think it's the best way to go right now, especially because we have limited funds for street improvement, no funding availability for 3, 4, 5 years perhaps. So unless you guys have another suggestion, this is going to be the best way to do it. We can bring this in-house, we can have our guys do this. And I think they're a little bit excited about it, a little scared about it because it's a big piece of machinery, but they like the end result.
Yeah, under the competitive bid ordinance and amendments to our purchasing manual, we'll need to bring that purchase back to you. You're gonna have to waive the cap, our cap there's 100,000. We'll find that there's something unique in the interest of the public, and if you waive it, then we'll order it.
Where does that leave us with the rest of the equipment needed, like the roller and
The roller's been ordered. It should be here in December, so we're told. And then we have water trucks that are good. And then what we would need would be a levoy to lay down that machine, the asphalt. But I think what we will do is we'll call around to Stillwater or someplace and get one of these paving companies that's what they do. So we'll get them just to do that part.
Don't? Okay. We don't think there's I guess I was told that that's a pretty small cost compared to the zipper. And is it something we don't think we could do in-house in the future, or just the lay-down part?
The laydown part just lays down the asphalt. It doesn't chew up anything.
No.
That's all it does.
Yeah, we're talking about outsourcing it, where my understanding is that's a fairly comparatively priced. It's fairly cheap compared to the zipper part. Is that something we want to look at doing in-house or continue to outsource?
No, I think we'll continue to do it and bring that in-house too. So they do the whole thing.
Continue, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to put together what we really needed right now, first of all, that was the compactor, the vibrating roller. That's been ordered. You guys approve that? This is the next part. And then we'll go to the lay down machine after that.
Look at bringing that down.
Yes,
Okay.
Did I understand correctly that even without laying down the asphalt, it produces a workable, decent road? So like if we wanted to rehabilitate alleyways or
Right.
park trails or things like that, we could still do that without
Yes.
doing asphalt? Okay.
I would actually say, I mean, if you go over by the TEDx daycare over there, that's where the demo was.
Okay.
And although not a paved road, it's better than the rest of the road. You'll see getting there. It's better than the rest of the road still today. I mean, it's been a week or two since I drove down it, but it's better than the rest of the road there in front of it.
And we've had some really heavy rain since we did that. I think everybody's kind of impressed. The streets is impressed. Yeah, so, this is a step in the right direction. I really think so. So, thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Wines, yes. White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. All right, 14, consider approval of professional services agreement with the Cowan Engineering Group for plans and specifications for the construction of a sanitary sewer line to the South Commercial Park. Designate source of funding for payment.
One of the things that's needed for ARPA funds is estimates and engineering. Has to be ready to go. We have an estimate of what it would cost from Cowan Group to extend the sewer line from 32nd Street south of, north of Highway 77 across to the property that we own, right across from Center's Corner. So this is to get the engineering so that when funds do become available, we're ready.
Do we have any idea what this agreement will cost?
I have not had an engineering estimate from them yet. I did ask that last week, but it did not come yet, so.
How do we approve something if we don't know how much it's gonna cost or where we're gonna pay?
Well, I really don't think you do right now, and I think that based upon what Russ has said, we do have some time to go, left it. So we can bring this and hopefully get this next week, the next time we meet, rather.
So is that,
Motion to table until the next meeting?
Is that long enough?
second?
Roll call, please.
Wines, yes. White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. All right. Items pertaining to the Perry Municipal Airport and improved uniform. Do we have to do these individually?
Yes.
Sorry.
Want to make sure if I need to read them in? All right.
Bill's smiling somewhere going, yeah.
You can read them in and take votes on each.
Right, that's what I was,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's what I was wanting to make sure. All right, item A, approve FAA Delphi request for reimbursement in an amount of $53,585 and $2,739 for improved fuel farm project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Please.
Wines, yes. White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. B, approve deduct change order number 1 in the amount of $3,250 with Young Contracting LLC for improved fuel farm project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Wines, yes. White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. If I forget to say that, just kidding.
We'll start without you.
C, approve application for payment number 4 in the amount of $22,870.50 with Young Contracting LLC for improved fuel farm project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve. Second.
Curtis, we're gonna take our turn too.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. D, approve application for payment number 5 in the amount of $27,587.50 with Young Contracting LLC for improved fuel farm project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I feel like I'm reading the same thing over.
We do too.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. E, approve payment to CEC Corporation amount of $3,150 for work on improved fuel farm project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
F, approve invoice from Park Hill for work on improved fuel farm project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Is there supposed to be an amount on that one?
It's on the invoice, I'm sure, in the,
You need to add that?
Are we good? with
it
the
doesn't
business?
matter if it has it in the item,
I'm sorry, what,
the total.
what the total's a little off?
It doesn't have the total in the item that I read in versus the others.
Oh, I
that we
see
did.
it. Well, then just insert it, just saying the amount of. And it's- we have that, it's F.
15F. That would be,
Trying to push me.
I didn't try to hush you.
Pictures of the project sure look impressive.
I agree. Is that the invoice for Park Hill?
Yeah, it's right here.
okay. $22,847.50. Does that sound right? Is amount certified?
Which page did you find that?
That's that four.
This is Park Hill?
Yeah. That's the
Does it
one
say
we got.
Park Hill?
Oh, that- It
There
says
was-
Park Hill, but
There was a
No,
couple of them with
The
Park Hill.
22,847 is shown. So it's just-
oh, there. Well, but via Engineer Park Hill.
Yeah, that was, I'm doing Park Hill on it.
That's why I said it.
I don't think it got included,
No, we didn't.
but I had them all. Here's an application. That's two.
I'm wondering if we didn't already on what she's saying, C.
That's what I was wondering, do we have it in there twice?
Just have it mismarked.
Bryce.
Yeah, okay. Well, there was a separate, I mean, there was a payment to Park Hill. There
Right,
a
but it was
payment-
27,587. So is it in there twice? Is that C?
Here, I'm gonna find it.
See this one? See how it says Engineer Parkhill right here?
Yeah, but it was just, it wasn't a big amount.
Okay.
It was like under $5,000, so I'm gonna find it.
$2,500 or so.
There we go. Here we go. At least the right document. Send it to me sideways. Because I remember it's a letter. No, it wasn't true.
I don't even see it in this distribution.
It's right here. Park Hill on it.
Yeah, that just says that's the engineer. This is the project, that's a pay, Nope. I don't have it either.
Yeah.
Let's just continue that one. You need to know how much you're paying to your engineer, so we'll just continue that to the next meeting.
Do we need to withdraw a motion then?
Yeah.
Withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
That last one doesn't have an amount on it either.
Well, that one's just closing.
Yeah, that's just closing. Yeah.
But we can't close it until we
Right,
do that.
Exactly.
So we leave A through E as is and
Yeah,
then table F and G?
yeah.
I make a motion to table F and the approved invoice from Mark Hill as well as closing the project until our next meeting.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. Alright. 16, consider approval of resolution number 2021-10 of the City Council for the City of Perry, Oklahoma, authorizing and establishing the City of Perry Christmas Lighting Electric Rebate Program, providing for the public purpose, providing for the amount of limitation on the rebate as provided in Exhibit A. Larry?
As you see there, Exchange Bank has decided to not sponsor it this year. Therefore, we don't have a sponsor unless the council would like the city to take care of that. I know that Gloria has mentioned that it's a very important part of our tradition to have this contest. So the matter is, who pays for it? Do you want to continue it?
Continue providing the.
Right.
Well, I believe that you could even give the $25 credit to them, whether we had the contest or not even. You know, anyone that wanted to sign up for the rebate just for having their house, for decorating their house, we could give them that and maybe we could, maybe somebody would come forward to do the contest, but I don't even think you have to have a contest to give the rebate, because the rebate would encourage people to go ahead and decorate to make the town look nice. And I know just the other night, my granddaughter says, now, we've got to remember to drive around town and look at the lights. So it gets people out, it gets people around doing things, and I just would like to encourage people to light their houses, whether there's a contest or not.
And that is correct. The resolution has been amended to kind of take the contest part out. It's still allowing that $25 rebate for anyone that signs up and agrees to put lights up.
And then if somebody wanted to come forward and sponsor the contest, I think it would just be an added thing to the community. Anyway, I just think it's important to give back to the community once in a while.
If we approve this resolution as is and we do get a sponsor, is there anything that would need to be done?
We would just make that announcement publicly. I mean, I don't know that we need to come back to you because our part will have been done, but we could make that on Facebook and all those participants or that would like to participate, we now have a sponsor.
Well, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the resolution number 2021-10 to give the $25 rebate to those that would like to participate in the lighting their house and enter for that.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. 17, any new business? 18, consider convening an executive session to discuss the appraisal and purchase of certain real property relating to the Upper Black Bear Watershed Project pursuant to Title 25, Section 307B.3 for the Oklahoma statutes as amended, or of the.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes. 19, could I entertain a motion to reconvene into regular session?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
White. Wines.
Yes.
I was like, White.
Yes.
Brown. Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
My bad.
No action needed. 21.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown. Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.